Hi. Hello, everyone. Welcome. We've got a stream going. Whoa. I am getting some massive return. That's better. Holy smokes. I was getting some full-on delay. Could hear myself like talking to myself. But everything's good now. How the hell is everybody doing on this beautiful Friday? Isn't it just a beautiful Friday? It is just the most beautiful Friday. You know why? There's a couple of reasons. The first reason, it's sunny. I'm pointing at the windows as if you guys could look out my window, so you can't. And no, I'm not moving the camera around. But it's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful Friday to begin with. Actually beautiful sun and not too hot. Just wonderful stuff. I am officially on vacation as of now. So that is also tremendous news. And G1 is starting tomorrow. We're just a few hours away, actually. You know, not even a full 24 hours. Here's where we are. Just a few hours away to getting the big festivities truly underway. I've been in a very festive mood here. I'm MrWarrenHayes, by the way. I've been in a very festive mood here on the podcast and the old YouTube side of things, because I really think that the G1 this year has the potential to be exciting. Now, it has the potential. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I'm guaranteeing it's going to be, but if only with the idea that the old guard is all down, gone down. They've gone down the hill. You see, they're over the hill, and now once you're over the hill, you can only go down from that point on, right? Nice save. Nice save, Warren. But the idea is that I've got they've got rid of everyone that usually would drag things down. The predictable patterns might not be there as much. Like the slate is full of new possibilities, and it's hard to not get excited about that, especially after the last couple of years where things seem very canned. I don't know. It seems a little. It seems the energy is different. It's a little more refreshed. I'm excited. I'm excited to see how this goes. But this is not going to be a G1 preview show. I already did that. I got that out of the way. So we're not doing that right now. The G1 preview show that I did was with Chris Sams of sportofprowrestling.com. I'm not going. So if you want to check that out, that's on the channel. That's legitimately, if you're on the channel right here, you're like, oh, there it is. Blue. You can't miss it. So, I invite you all to go and check it out, but not right now, because now we're going to have something a little more light. It'll be fun. We'll see how things go. But we've got. We want to give a little hello, a little shout out, a little hey, how you doing to the people who are taking time out of their day to come hang out and watch this nonsense that I have set up here. Heather, nice to see you. Always nice to see you, Heather, when you pop in. We've got that guy Shrek44. Very nice to see you as well. Welcome. And DJ Convoy is here. The hell, I'm very nice to see you. It's very nice to see you, DJ Convoy. And look at Motown Slim jumping in here. It's been a while, man. Nice to see you and welcome. And then we have Sean, who's here, who's a member of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show Discord and the channel as well. That's what I wanted to say. Before the Discord, member of the channel first and foremost. Thank you. And you can also become a member of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show channel. Just saying, you just hit the join button and there you go. Sean is obviously on the side of Jake Lee, being a part of the big finale of the G1. Lots of luck to you and your boy. Lots of luck on that end. So, but thank you everyone for being here. If you don't mind, if you haven't already, click a little like on that stream. On the stream right now, that would be tremendous. Will help. Will help get things moving and circulating and whatnot. So that'll be a nice time. It's always nice to have more people pop in. Right? Of course. But I am still thrilled that you all are here. But why don't I just pull it up there instead of just. We're gonna do a tier list. Everyone loves a good tier list, right? I know I do. Let's do it. There we go. There we go. Everyone likes a good tier list. I think they're fun to do, very visual, and it's really easy content for YouTube. So I was sitting around and thinking about this, and I was like, hey, why don't, this would be fun. It'd just be different. It's not something I do very often, to be fair, but I think it's something that'd be a nice little exercise, just a couple of hours, just a couple of hours before we get into the G1. So this is how I'm figuring, so I have all the participants here. And again, I did my predictions with Chris Samsa. We went through everything. I don't know what I can really add more, other than here's something that here's an exercise that I'd like to try myself, that I'd like to do, and that would be to establish the chances that I think each of these wrestlers has to not necessarily win the G1, but head to the playoffs, right? Because look, if you didn't see the previous show that I did with Chris Samsa, I am firmly in the Zack Sabre Jr. camp. If you were to ask me who do you think is going to win, Warren, well, it's Zack Sabre Jr. But there's more people around, in the setup that are going to advance. There's got to be like 6 guys, right? There's the block winner and the 2 runners up, and so that's what we have to. That's what I want to try and think about. Like, who are these 6 wrestlers going to be? What is the percentage, the odds that they have of moving on to the playoffs, as opposed to outright winning the G1. We can broaden our scope here a little bit. It's not as we're not just like laser focused on the big result. There could be lots of results for a lot of people, essentially. So let's have a look. See, let's go. Why don't we go just right ahead? Look, the first guy we have lined up here is Jeff Cobb, and I didn't even talk about the scale. See, so the scale that I have is basically the percentage of chance that I think these people are going to move on to the playoffs, right? So 90%, 80%, 70%, 60% or more, then less than 60%, right? I think that's fair. And then, but then I didn't want to tier like 20%, 30%. Then I think we're getting a little too much into the weeds when it comes to the losing side of the card. But I did put the 0% for people that I absolutely think have, no chance to advance to the playoffs, if all that makes sense. And by the way, if you want to fool around with this tier maker, I put the link, this tier maker tier list. I put the link in the description of the video. So that would be tremendous. And then here's what you can do. Then you can join the Mr. Warren Hayes Show channel, the Discord. Why am I getting these too confused. I guess it must be vacation brain setting in, or just normal Warren brain. I always try to make excuses, but you know, at some point, you could you could go around and full with it, then join the Discord, and then like share your tier makers with me. That would be tremendous. Yeah, Saber, Kid, Suji, I think are all going to do well as well. I agree with that. I think they're all going to have good showings. Let's see what we got here. Let's start with Jeff Cobb here. I think what Jeff Cobb has the most going for him is that he's a TV champion. I think there's a possibility that he's going to... I think it's hard to discard Jeff Cobb not doing really well. Because he's a big guy, you know, athletic, and he's a champion this year. You know, didn't he do good last year? So, you know, I think it's hard to completely discard it. Now, how strongly do I feel that he's going to move on to the finals or the playoffs anyway? I'm not sure. And this was what I think what makes the G1 so interesting this year. I think he's got a 70% chance. I'm hesitating between 60 or 70. I'll put him at 70 and we'll see how it goes. I reserve the right to mess around with this afterwards. You know, once we start putting other people into these spots, you know, to be in the playoffs, not win the G1. This is the list to make it to the playoffs. Be either the guy who wins the block and gets the bye, or has to, or is one of the two runners up, right? I think 70. I'll see how things go, but for now, I think 70% works for him. Nice to see Bray Wyatt, which is a very weird thing to say. No, you the GOAT. Welcome to the stream. Nice to see Bray Wyatt is something that, you know, sounds very weird today. El Phantasmo, who in the chat, we seem to think that he's going to do very well. You know, El Phantasmo did pretty good last year. And while he's not in my personal picks to get to the playoffs, I think he has a very strong chance to do very well again this year. But there's really two ways they can go about this, right? Either, and it all has to do with Hikuleo, you know, hitting the bricks and now he's alone again. They'll either do one of two stories. Either El Phantasmo is, you know, he's unshackled and, you know, doing his thing, and now he can focus on being a singles guy again, and you know he's focusing on the G1 to overcome his feelings, or his feelings are going to get the best of him and he's just going to end up eating dirt the entire way, right? So I think there's a strong possibility that El Phantasmo is going to do well, and I like El Phantasmo, and I also think that I'd like to know what's holding them back from pulling the trigger on him, because he's a great baby face. You know, people love him. He literally kisses babies on his way to the ring. You know, he's doing everything for the Japanese audience to love him, and I think they love him back. Would he win the G1? No, I don't think he would win the G1, but I think he has a possibility to make it to the playoffs. How about that? Evil. Now, Evil is this is the guy that everyone like doesn't really want to see in in these situations, in these playoffs, but he's absolutely someone that that you can absolutely see them booking into the semis or even winning a block, because he's a tough one, because he's got because he's got the basic instinctive, well, not instinctive, it's not, but he's got the integral heel heat, right? Like he goes into a semifinal with a baby face. You know, the baby face is instantly the guy that everyone's cheering for. It's really not that hard. You know, he's someone where you're like, no, he shouldn't make it, but like he also very well could make it. He absolutely could. But I'm also thinking about, you know, Hiroshi Tanahashi a couple of weeks ago when he did his 6-month review, and he laid out his 10-point plan, and he specifically zoned in on, you know, outside interference, and you know, the IWGP council is going to crack down on this, and we're going to make sure that New Japan imposes sanctions and all this. Now, was that all just blowing smoke up our ass, which is possible, or is it something in kayfabe that they want to do? Also possible. If I feel a little more confident in this 10-point plan because Tanahashi has already shown that he's sticking to things that he said he wanted to do, like pushing new guys, ergo the setup of this G1, you know, and something silly like he said there would be food experiences at the upcoming at upcoming New Japan events, right? We'd have gourmet foods and whatnot. And I don't know if you watched the press conference, but that was part of the press conference where the guy was announcing the host saying, oh yeah, there's going to be food trucks and food from 13 local restaurants there, and we're going to have gourmet experiences, and there's going to be, you know, lemon bitters and beer. And so, you know, Tanahashi's sticking to his thing at this point. So maybe he's going to stick to his thing here and say Evil will not be able to depend on the House of Torture as much to win matches, and maybe he'll have to work. Although Evil did say in the tournament, in the press conference, that he was going to have the worst matches of the tournament, but yet he was going to win the block. That's exactly what he said. So I feel like I'm going to put him on a 70% chance or more to make it to the playoffs. And I think there's just a lot of my own personal bias and overall disinterest that is feeding it, because I think you could put him higher, but as it stands, like, I want to put him at 70 right now. We'll see how the rest of the field falls in here, right? You know, but we don't want him. Truth and Loyalty, nice to see you and welcome. Hey les amis français, c'est ça le catch. Allô, allô et bonsoir. How are you guys doing? Welcome to the chat. We don't want to be bilou. Welcome. So let's go on with the tweet. Let's keep this going. Another guy that I think is a little difficult this year to position as far as going into the playoffs of the G1 is Dave Finlay. He is currently a title holder. You know, nothing was better than Evil completely breaking Milano Collection AT's heart. That's an underrated moment, isn't it, though? Milano always had his little scythe, and that was an underrated moment. As far as Dave Finlay, he is the global champion. Technically, right now, it's the number 2 belt in the company, at least on paper. You know, he's the leader of the War Dogs, although I think I heard someone say that Jake Lee was the leader of the War Dogs. Now, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. I think that this is going to be a year that Dave Finlay will have to absolutely show up. I think this is a guy who has been extremely mid, terribly mid, in his role as Bullet Club leader, you know, Gato's been trying real hard with him. gosh, golly gee willikers, he has tried real hard with Dave Finlay to make him the next Jay White. Like, he's been really trying. So the idea here is that he might, just because he has the belt, I think it means that he has a good spot waiting for him overall in the G1. And I also think that he's a guy, like, as a professional wrestler, as a guy who is contracted to this company, I think he sees, what's going on in this field. He sees that he's, the regular guys like Okada, Will, Tanahashi, they're all gone. They're not in the tournament this year. I think he sees that his spot is potentially in danger. Spot as a top guy, I mean, because the young guys are all in this. They're practically, wisdom would dictate that they're going to do their best to have a great G1 and enamor themselves and like become really, really top guys. And I think this could potentially be threatening for a guy like Dave Finlay. I think potentially he could be threatened by that. He sees that the old guys are gone, that there's some new guys coming up, and he's like stuck in the middle here, where he's not, he's not a young guy, he's not a top guy, and he's been pushed, but you feel like it's always on shaky ground. I'm going, just because he has a title, I'm dropping him in the 70% or more. But I think he's on a low end, right? Maybe we should tier them as well, as rank them like this. Like, those that I feel should be at the top of that rank, if that makes sense. Like, I think Evil has a better chance in the 70% rank of going forward than Jeff Cobb does. And they both have a better chance. I think Dave Finlay has a better chance than Jeff Cobb. Does that make sense? Like, if Evil should go forward before the two other guys, I think. Doesn't that make sense? Doesn't that make sense? We'll see. Who's Evil, the Ace of New Japan? Yeah, sure. Yes, he does. Great O'Khan. I think he zero chance of being in the playoffs. And Great O'Khan is such an interesting case study. Yeah, he's such an interesting case study. Because he came in with, kind of stunned everyone when he made his debut, and everyone sort of saw big things for him, and then he never really lived up to the expectations, which was weird because everyone thought he had, and I myself, I'm not trying to exclude myself from this, but everyone thought he had tremendous upside. And yeah, like DJ Convoy says, I think he's just a body right now. He's just another guy in the tournament, which is weird. And if he were to jump in here and let me simplify. I was planning on taking a really convoluted path here, but let me simplify my thoughts here. It's not unlike Dave Finlay. This is another guy who I feel could end up feeling threatened by what's going on and maybe finally decide to crank it up. But he also might not. The rural, what is it, renovation? Rural rejuvenation, I think it is, right? I kind of, it's a good gimmick. I kind of like it. It's dumb. It works with his persona. The good kind of dumb. I kind of like it too. But look, we'll see what happens. But yeah, And I think that even despite the fact that he's a title holder, he's the KOPW title holder, like no one cares. It doesn't matter. Like we're ready to move on here. I don't think I said hello to Truth and Loyalty, or did I? I think I did, just in case. I don't remember. And consider yourself saluted twice then. Hiroki Goto comes next. I'm going to put him here in less than 60%. I think. I don't think his chances of moving on are very, very large. But, and some people, I think a lot of people would be like instantly, oh, he's a 0, right? But I kind of think back at we're talking about rejuvenation. The rejuvenation that he had during the cup, the New Japan Cup, right? I think there's a very good chance that, well, not a very good, I think there's a slim chance that he might move forward. I don't want to put him at 0. I think that, and this is a guy who has backstage maneuvered in the past to make sure that he ranked well in G1s. Now, we're many, many years removed from that era, but, Dave Finlay getting injured in the New Japan Cup this year, and then him sort of taking his spot, which everyone kind of assumes is what the plan was. I think he might. I wouldn't discount New Japan going, sure, like this is going to be a big final year for Goto as a singles contender. It might. He's been downcycled in previous G1s, so we might continue down that path as well. But it's just that little wrench, that little wrench is that for the New Japan Cup and the positive reception that it got, because people started backing him up, right? People were excited. We were like, why not have Goto win? That'd be tremendous. I'm not confident in putting and sliding it into the 0 spot. Now, I've just worked myself into a shoot, and I'm going to move up Dave Finlay to the 80% or more, and I'm going to put him ahead of Phantasmo on top of that. For the reason that I just said here, because I think the general conception, the general idea that everyone has come to accept was that Dave Finlay was supposed to win the New Japan Cup. Then he got injured and Goto took his place. So I would absolutely see the booking go, well, sorry about, not necessarily win the New Japan Cup. Excuse me. Let me say that again. Not necessarily win the New Japan Cup, because I think Yota Tsuji winning the New Japan Cup was the right move, even if Dave Finlay had stayed healthy, but make it to the finals of the New Japan Cup is what I wanted to say. And maybe they're going to do a make-do in the tournament. Maybe they're going to be like, all right, fine, we'll put Finlay, in a challenger round, in the playoffs at the end. And I think that's the more I think about it, plus the title, plus, they're trying to make something. The more I think about it, the more I think Finlay's has a really good chance to be in the playoffs at the end. Working so far? That guy Shrek says the only time the KOPW title mattered was when Taichi had it. Yeah, sure, and Shingo. You can absolutely balance those two guys. Taichi was tremendous, and I think it gave a good kick it gave a great kick to his career. I can say words, and Shingo as well. Like, Shingo's tremendous. I mean, you could give Shingo a feather and he'd defend it and be tremendous. Next, we've got Henare. And Henare is great and all, but yeah, again, like, the fact that he has a title is enough for me to not throw him down into the 0 pile. But I think, not unlike Goto, he doesn't have a really big chance of winning. I don't think he has a good chance. Yeah. Yeah, I mean the zero, I understand if people want to put him in zero, right? But the title is just enough for me to go, and I think he's going to have a good G1. I think he's going to have a good G1. Maybe he's going to be, this is going to be, maybe they're going to set it up in a way so that he can be thanked for, working with the skull split open. It's just going to be their way of saying, "Hey, thanks for everything." Again, I'll see. We'll put him there for now anyway. Gabe Kidd, I'm going to put him at 60% or more. I don't think it's improbable that Gabe Kidd makes it to the playoffs. But I don't think it's improbable, but I don't think he will. I think there's, the guys we've talked about so far all have stronger cases than him. At the same time, there's a lot of people who can't stand Gabe Kidd. I understand why. I love Gabe Kidd. I think I sometimes feel like I'm on an island. I really, really like Gabe Kidd. But as far as the G1 goes, I think there are people who have many, much stronger cases than he does. And there's only 6 people who can advance. And there's some people anyway, like I said, already considering there's 3 guys here, Evil, Dave Finlay and ELP, I think, that have stronger cases. But then again, New Japan really likes him. New Japan really, really likes him, and he goes off for a little excursion match over in Noah, and he tears the house down. It's like, which is another reason why I don't want to drop him any lower. I'm just thinking logically. I don't think he goes all that far. Like he'll probably be involved. He'll probably be in the mix to the very end. Like he's not going to be a guy who's taking L's this year. He's not a body. He's not a Yujiro. He's not a Chase Owens. He's not a Kenta. I think they're going to do something with him, but I don't think he heads to the. I don't think he goes to the finals. Sean says, "Understand why some don't like Kidd, but I don't mind him." I've always stuck up for him because over the past year, like last year was a very, very dismal year, I thought, for New Japan creatively, an in-ring to, it was fine, but there were, you sort of expect another level from the biggest Puro company in the world. And he, and throughout all this, like this gray, dismal stuff, he always came through like with energy and a type of drive that no one else was exhibiting, a passion that no one else was exhibiting. And I can't fault him for that. And I know a lot of people have issues with the gimmick, with how he handles himself, the hooliganism. But man, he's so different than everyone else on this roster. I don't have an issue with it. I really don't. And I think his work has dramatically improved as well. Convoy says, I just don't think crazy swearing guy is good character work. I don't think he's anything special in the ring. Well, look, and again, I understand. We will respectfully disagree. No, we won't respectfully disagree. This is pro wrestling. We're going to hit the Twitter machine and we're going to go after each other until we dox one another. How about that? First one to dox the other guy wins. Over wrestling. That guy Shrek says Drilla Maloney should have been in the G1. I love Drilla Maloney, but technically speaking, he's a junior heavyweight. I guess they could have just they could have just said, oh yeah, but he put on the pounds and he's ready to go, because he's a bit of a phony junior heavyweight. Let's be real. What's the weight limit? 220, 225, something like that. He's right on the. It's kind of like when WWE was trying to make us believe that Buddy Murphy was under 200 pounds and was under 205 pounds and could compete on 205 Live. You're like, come on. I love Gilles Maloney. I think he started off a little rough, but he ended up having a great Best of Super Juniors. It was one of the highlights of the tournament. Don't do my boy Yujiro Takahashi dirty. Just the fact that your boy is Yujiro Takahashi. Jake Lee. Oh, the boyhood dream has come true. Jake Lee has made it to the G1. He's very likely a member of the New Japan roster now because he left. He said goodbye to no one. Good gravy. Goodness. You'd want a quick you'd want a quick explanation of Jake Lee. I mean, what is there to explain? He's a longtime pro wrestler. I can't remember how, the extent of his, he's got to be like at least a decade in, right? Well, okay, let's pull up the cage match instead of just like pretending, he's tall. Like I honestly, that is like one of his main attributes. Japanese guys are not that tall. So when you do get one who's tall, you get excited about it. And Jake Lee is tall. What is he billed at? 6'4"? He's going to tower over a lot of people in New Japan that you probably think are taller than they are. He's a 12-year veteran, and he's listen. This is a guy who is just a fine little wrestler. Don't get me wrong. Like there's nothing wrong with his technique. Okay, like there's nothing bad, I guess, with his with what he does. But he's an extremely boring pro wrestler, and somehow we're supposed, he's always been pushed as this top guy. Everywhere he's went, he's been pushed as a top guy, and he's like supposed to be oozing charisma, and in fact, like he's just like he's a dull wrestler to watch, and his movements are weird. Like everything is kind of, it's kind of watching a Jake Lee match is kind of like watching, you kind of get an uncanny valley feel. You know what I mean? Like when you see like an AI representation of someone talk to you and you're like, oh no, something's a little off, doesn't quite feel human. It's kind of like an AI wrestling. And this is a guy, he went to All Japan a couple of years ago and they made him Triple Crown champion twice. And this was like post-pandemic when everyone is like, oh, we got to dig ourselves out of the dirt. Wrestling's been in a bad spot. Now we got to come out of it. And they go and they belt up Jake Lee, and how much business did he drive? None. Then he goes to Noah and they strap him up as the GHC champion. And this is the Noah after, this is the situation of Noah what am I trying to say? He was belted up as the top guy in Noah in the period post Great Muta. Once Kaiji Muto left, retired, he was the guy that they turned to. And everyone was like, what the hell are you guys doing? Like, you have an opportunity to belt up anyone, and they have young, exciting talent, for Keno. Well, Keno's not that young, but Keno and Kiyomiya and so on and so forth. And then they belt this guy. And how much business did he move? None. But he's been trying to get into New Japan for years. I love the memes in the chat. He's been trying to get into New Japan for for years, and specifically into a G1. He's tried to tweet his way into G1s in the past. So this is he's absolutely like the guy that they he's a guy who's been trying to get in. So now like the boyhood dream has come true for our boy Jake Lee. And as far as him being in the G1 goes, I think he's got a night. I think he's almost a shoo-in for the finals. And I'm not even memeing here. It's not even a joke. Because I think he's in the same block as Tetsuya Naito, right? And Naito is going to have a defense on the way over to he's going to have a defense to go over on the road to Wrestle Kingdom, right? I think not, and he already lost a singles match to Naito in the at the All Together show. I can't remember which one, but he lost to Naito at one of the All Together shows in a singles match. So he's got to win to get back, which can absolutely happen in the tournament. It can absolutely happen in the tournament where Jake Lee, where Jake Lee is going to pin Naito. I would even say Naito in the regular block action beats Jake Lee, but then fights him again in the knockout round of the playoffs, and then Jake Lee beats him there. He's going to get a win back. And that's going to set up a title defense. We're going to get Jake Lee versus Naito somewhere down the line. And, well, somewhere down the line, like this fall or something. I think he has a very strong chance. And look, I don't know if they're still booking. I don't think they're booking him as a guy from Noah, but they were, bear with me for a second here, but outsiders always do well in the G1. Outsiders always do well. Tetsuya Naito. I think there's a very strong chance that he's going into the playoffs. I mean, we don't have much of a history for champions, but there is a pattern, and so far in every G1 that has had the playoff situation, the champion has made it to the champion has made it to the semi. I don't think we need more explanation than that. Also, I mean, from purely a ticket selling point of view, there's one guy who is putting the butts in seats these days, and it's this guy here. It's Naito. So even from that point, so look, if I had to put a 100% tier, which I didn't because I'm a coward, but if I had put a 100% tier, Naito would be in it. Red Narita is not going to the playoffs in any way, shape, or form. I don't think if anyone was like looking at the odds and thinking of putting down the mortgage on Ren Narita, I would strongly advise not to do that. Same with Callum Newman. I don't think Newman is there to take L's, and that's fine. And look, we're gonna put Boltin Oleg in here too. Both of them. I mean, none of these guys have a chance to win. Narita to go to the playoffs. Narita is the weakest link of the Reiwa 3+1. He's absolutely the weakest link. He'll probably act as a spoiler in a circumstance or two. I think he might actually become. I think he might pick up the spot that Yujiro had a few years ago when he'd be the guy, ending up, costing a babyface a spot, forcing an elimination, something like that. I think that's what he can do, right? So so that's absolutely 100% a so that absolutely something here that that's going to, he's not going to progress. He's not going to move forward. You know, I don't know how far they're going to drag out this heel turn with the House of Torture, but yeah, I don't know how much it's going to work for him. And hello, Kristen Ashley. Very nice to see you. And welcome, darling, who's also a member of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show channel, by the way. Callum Newman is Callum Newman. Callum Newman is a guy who is he is a body. He's someone here to take some L's. He's probably going to lose. You know, maybe win one match. You know, but otherwise, no, not. You know, he's not going to move on. But he's a guy who has something to prove. Kind of like Bolton Oleg, right? I think they're both going to be in the same position where they're not moving forward. They're taking L's, and they're both moving forward. They're taking L's, and they're going to. They both are kind of going to. They both have something to prove, and I think that their performances are going to benefit from that, as opposed to, you know, putting a guy like Chase or Yujiro, who were over the past couple of years were like, well, this is our spot anyway, and you know, it did what it did. This is one of the reasons why I'm excited about this G1 is like even the matches where people are clearly going to be on the losing side still have some interest, are still exciting. There's still something there that might strike a match. I mean, it's all in their court right now, right? The ball's in Newman's court. It's in Bolton Oleg's court. It's up to them. It's up to them to figure this out. DGMC is here, and it's my stream. I decide what to do. Hello and welcome. And a guy Shrek says Taichi should have been in the G1 this year. I think he might be. I think he's probably the wrestler that most people kind of went, aw. When he was eliminated from the knockout round at first, you know, the play-in, I think everyone sort of went, aw. Because in a G1 universe, where Tomohiro Ishii is out of commission. You know, he's older now. He's banged up. He can't do a tour like this anymore. I think a lot of people sort of turn to Taichi to say, well, look, here is our substitute Ishii, a guy who is not pushed, a guy that the fans really like, and who can have great matches with practically everyone he gets in the ring to. Like a good old tournament MVP. I think that's what people saw with Taichi. With you know, now thinking about Ishii not being here. And unfortunately, well, he ain't here. Yeah, it might be Shingo this year. Might be Shingo forever now. Because Shingo's another guy that they don't push. This might be, you know, Shingo might be the new Ishii. I mean, you could do worse. Don't get me wrong. But, you know, always the bridesmaid, never the bride kind of thing. Sonata's downcycling. They're downcycling him, I should say. You know, he said, I'm going to be top 3 this year. I don't think so. He said that in the press conference, you know. I don't think he's going to have much of an impact, even if he's a former IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. You know, he was for most of the year last year. I think the experiment ended up failing. I think you could logically say to yourself, maybe he didn't even want that spot. Like, you know, It never really clicked. I don't think it's ever going to happen again. I think they're going to downcycle him and like all of these people here, like, you know, Evil has a better chance of moving forward than he does. I even think Jeff Cobb does. I think Jeff Cobb has a better, you could make a better case for him. Here? Like a 60% chance instead of a 70? Like, I'm not ready to go less than 60. Like, I'd put him either at the tail end of 70% or at the tippy top of 60%, if that makes sense. I think I'm going to put him here. I think he's got a better chance. But they really like Gabe Kidd, though. They really, really like Gabe Kidd. No, I think I'm doing this. I think that's what I'm doing. Again, yeah, I reserve the right to move these around once we got the full portrait. I reserve the right. Not gonna lie, I almost didn't want to watch the G1 Climax due to Taichi not being in it. New Japan makes it so hard to be a Taichi fan anymore. Well, I mean, yeah, I get it. You know, maybe he's just really content at being a streamer too. Maybe he's like, his streaming career is off the chart. I don't know. You know, but Sonata stays a beautiful man. Like, you know, he had a tremendous outfit at the press conference. That will always be like his main attraction, like his sense of style. He wasn't good in the G1 last year. Yeah, I mean, he had a very Sonata performance, you know. It was very there. It just kind of happened, and then we all moved on. You know, it's like very, very average stuff. Yeah, as far as Taichi goes, yeah, streaming sure beats falling down for a living, for sure. Shingo Takagi. In a perfect world, Shingo Takagi will be winning his 3rd consecutive G1 this year. That's what a perfect world would reserve for us. I mean, he's at the top here. He's at the top. I'm going to put him here. But I'm going to put him at the tail end. But I think there's a very strong chance of Shingo moving forward. Very, very, very strong possibility. Konosuke Takeshita from AEW and DDT. He is absolutely making it. I think there's even a better chance that he makes it than Jake Lee. He's absolutely going to make it. I wouldn't even be surprised if he wins the block and gets the bye, and that he's the final boss waiting for whichever New Japan challenger is coming after him. But historically speaking, outsiders always do well in the G1. You know, they always do well. They always have at least a little bit of story. They have something to chew on, you know. I mean, like Kingston had a good run last year, Eddie Kingston. And you can go all the way back. Like I remember Go Shiozaki was in the, I want to say, what was it, the 2010 G1? And his final night, he had a chance to win the block. And he was fighting Shinsuke Nakamura on the final night. And they went to draw. And that forced their elimination because who won that year? Someone else won that year, of course. It wasn't Go Shiozaki. You know, I'm just saying, like, there's a history, solid history, much precedent of outsiders doing really well in the G1. And plus, you know, Takeshita's he's Japanese, you know. Listen, I'm gonna tell you something right now, folks. If the backdoor rumors going around are true that Konosuke Takeshita is not super happy with how things are going on in AEW right now, which I don't blame him. That being said, I'm Gedo. I'm Yuji Nagata. I'm the president. I'm President Ace. I'm sort of, taking him into a corner every other night, and I'm like, you try to, you're not running contract interference. You just tell him, oh, look at what could be waiting for you here, sir. I'm just saying. You kidding me? A guy like Takeshita in New Japan, there's your tall, beefy, perfect wrestler. Yeah, I'm sure putting over Chris Jericho will make Takeshita happy again. I mean, it's kind of baffling, and it would be some neat little karma if New Japan signed an AEW guy, but also a DDT guy. I know, you know what I mean, and not, it's not a tippy top guy like Ospreay or Okada. I mean, it's not exactly, tit for tat here, but bear with me. But I am absolutely convinced that this guy, he would be in my 100% tier if I wasn't a coward and had created one. DGMC says, bring him in, strap him up on the first night. Yeah, let's run the Okada angle all over again. I'm completely okay with that. Convoy says it would add a lot of life to them right now, but who knows what his contract status is. Exactly. We don't know. Yota Tsuji is also a guy that we're going to put up here. I think he's a shoo-in to make the playoffs. Like, I kind of feel like Shingo is the most distant possibility of the ones I have up here. Like, these four dudes here, they feel like shoo-ins to be in the playoffs. And I think Tsuji is even going to be in the finals. I think they're going to bet a lot on Tsuji in the G1 this year. They're going to bet a lot on the kid. And I don't think he's going to sweep the block. He's not going to be, like, in a perfect world, Takeshita sweeps his block and he gets the bye. And then Tsuji has to fight to get to the block finals. And then defeats Takeshita and then loses to Zack Sabre Jr. Because I don't think Tsuji is going to win. Look, Chris Samsa was telling us, and you should watch the preview if you haven't already, because you'll get little nuggets of truth like this. There has never been a year where the New Japan Cup winner has also won the G1. So that's either so that's a strike against Tsuji, or a 10-yard penalty because he played football, right? So it's one of those two. That's a bad scenario. But there's also a scenario where you could say, well, if they love Yota Tsuji so damn much and they want to make a big star out of him, have him win the Cup and the G1 in the same year, make that part of his legacy, be the first guy to do it. And okay, sure. All I'm saying is that there is no precedent for a New Japan Cup winner winning the G1 and the Cup in the same year. So I think that's playing against them. But I think out of the Reiwa 3, he's going to be the guy who's going to shine the most in the tournament. Yuya Uemura, I think I think this is a safe less than. Yeah, I think he's safe in the less than 60% chance. I think there, again, this is another guy that the company thinks very highly of. So, I shudder to put him in the 0% spot. I don't think that's fair. There's a sliver of a chance that he might surprise us all and just like go, right? But I think it's a good spot for him here. Shota Umino, the roughneck, the superstar, the top guy. I think he's going here. I am not ready. You know what? I'm going to be even bolder than this. I think he's going in the 70% rung. I don't think they're going to focus as much on Shota Umino this year as they will Yota Tsuji. I think Tsuji's getting the shine because you see it in the zero bucket. No, we can't do that. Because I think Tsuji has this potential. We know he has the potential, but I think the office likes him so much, and I think they're seeing that he has these natural crowd reactions, and everywhere he goes, he's perceived as a star, and it just connects. It just works, I sincerely believe that they're going to try and focus on him being Tsuji, as opposed to any other guys from the Musketeer tribe. And when I was doing my pick'ems, I realized that in the matchups and everything, Umino is not poised to have a clear G1. I don't think he's poised to have like the one. And I think if they're playing the long game like they often do, and if we really want to get back to it, you can absolutely have him have a better year this year than he did last year, but without establishing himself as the true top guy kind of thing, if that makes sense. I can't put him lower because the company is ready to invest in the guy. This just might not be the year. Maybe they see him as a little more build, and he'll be great, but it's not gonna. I don't think it's happening this year. I really don't. And finally, Zack Sabre Jr. Well, he's going up at the top. And I think he's winning the whole shebang. I think he's winning his block, and he's moving forward. And he's. I think he's a shoo-in for the semis. I don't think there's. When I was there's a good counter argument to Zach being there, and that is the fact that he is not Japanese, and usually the Wrestle Kingdoms are going to be two top Japanese guys. But if they are in a situation right now where they want someone to draw with Tetsuya Naito at in the Dome, look at this field right here. Tell me who is in the position to be able to draw with Naito. Who else? Well, we know it's not going to be Takeshita. It's not going to be Jake Lee. Jake Lee can't draw a dime. And we have facts behind that. Shingo, probably, but they'd have to have faith in Shingo, which I don't think they do. I think Shingo's role in the company is pretty clear. Yota Tsuji, I don't think he's dome drawing material yet. Zach has been around for a while. He's in this interesting, sort of jackass tweener spot. which can work because don't forget they like their, they're like their face heel dynamics nonetheless. He's in that spot. He's a great wrestler. He's a guy who could drag the best out of Tetsuya Naito in a top spot. And, he's just familiar enough for the crowd to feel fresh as someone at the top of the card, but without crossing your fingers and throwing Gabe Kidd into the mix. You know what I mean? And, he's adopted the culture. He speaks the language, and the Japanese crowd picks up on that. They know, he did the entire press conference when he did talk during the press conference, but he did it all in Japanese. Most of it he didn't speak, but he was doing his bit with the microphone. But when he does, he's got that he's got just enough name recognition and feeling like he's evolved to be in a position where you could arguably that you can make a case for him to main event the Dome with Naito. Because honestly, there's no one else. There is no one else that you should feel confident in for drawing in the Tokyo Dome in January. Zach might not be the perfect choice, but I think he's better than anyone else that there is here. You know what I mean? New Japan needs to build up the top gaijin in the whole company. That Ospreay left, they need to build up everyone. We're not just focusing on gaijin at this point. They have to build up everyone. They got a lot of work to do on that front. And DG Convoy basically said the same thing in the comments here. Boris Johnson as a special guest rep, that'll draw huge in the Dome. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure that Zach will be thrilled about that, especially if he gets to tie him up into a submission, a shoot submission. How does this look? Does this make sense? Does this list sort of, or is it just garbage? Naito, Zach, Takeshita, Tsuji, Lee, Shingo. Those would be my 6 finalists. Those would be the 6 guys I'd toss into the playoffs. Finley and ELP are strong contenders to be up there as well. Shota Umino, Evil, Jeff Cobb. Because Jeff Cobb has to, yeah. I'm going to switch that around. I'm going to put Gabe Kidd on the other tier, but behind Evil. I'm going to put Cobb in the 60%, but ahead of Sanada. Right? Then less than 60%, Goto, Hinare, Uemura. I think that all makes sense. And I think the zeros are fine. I think the zero chance of moving forward in all those guys at the bottom, I think that's a fair assessment. Would you not say? Do you concur? Do you concur, Doctor? I think this is good. I think this is a good tier list of wrestlers in the G1 Climax 34 who will be making it to the playoffs as opposed to just outright winning the G1. Making it to the playoffs, which is a good distinction. Yeah, I'm fair. What are you talking about? I'm super fair. I'm the fairest of them all. I'm the fairest of the land. What are you talking about? I'm going to stand for this kind of slander on my stream. What's this all about? Let's see here. Trying to Tyrant podcaster yourself. Yeah, whatever, Yeah, whatever. Let's pull up some music then. There you go, to sort of take us out. There you go. This is kind of what I wanted to do. It's kind of the little mood that I was in that I wanted to create here, just to wrap everything up for the pre-G1 festivities. I of course will be here with my daily G1 recaps every day that there is a G1 show. I will be here to guide you through it, to provide you with results, reviews, analysis. I'm already excited for when we're going to start getting closer to the scenarios. I'm already excited for that, but this all starts in a few hours, in a couple of hours as we're streaming on July 20. The first, the night 1 and 2 is also happening. Oh, hell yeah, it's a commitment. And I've been doing it for 4 years. Let's keep it up. Let's keep going. I'm going to do it. And I'm super excited about it. It's always it's a fun time of year, and it just so happens I am much more excited, let's put it that way, about the G1 this year than I have in the past 2, I'd say. This one really has me going, so I'm really, really excited to see how far this is going to go. Just to see what's going to be the thing. How's it all going to turn out? Anyway, talked about it enough. We're gonna wrap it up. We're gonna move on. So hey, thank you everyone for joining me on the stream today, or for watching the video on demand, which is also up here. How about one more pitch for a like here on youtube.com/MrWarrenHayes? That'd be great. Subscribe to the channel if you're not a subscriber already, and if you're not a subscriber, or if you are a subscriber, consider joining the channel as well. That's always good. It shows a little support. And, then I go to bed with a nice fuzzy feeling inside. I will be back. I'll be back tomorrow for the first recap show for the G1 Climax 34. In the meantime, I hope everyone has a lovely rest of the day. A great weekend on top of that. You also deserve a great weekend. And I'll see you next time.